I refused to move out so that my roommate's boyfriend can move in. My roommate Jess decided 2 months into our lease that her boyfriend Tyler needed to move in with us. I was sitting on the couch playing video games when she brought it up like it was no big deal. She just walked into the living room and said, "Hey, Tyler's lease is up next month and he's gonna move in here." I thought she was joking at first because we literally never talked about this. I told her no way, and that's when she got all defensive. She started going on about how they've been together for 8 months and it was the next step in their relationship. I reminded her that I signed a lease for a 2-bedroom apartment with her, not her and some random dude I barely knew. Plus, Tyler was this annoying guy who always left dishes in the sink when he came over and hogged the TV to watch sports. But Jess wasn't backing down. She said Tyler would help with rent and it would make everything cheaper for all of us. I told her I didn't care about cheaper rent if it meant living with someone I didn't want to live with. That's when she dropped the bomb that she already told Tyler he could move in and he'd already given his landlord notice. I was pissed. She basically made this huge decision that affected my living situation without even asking me first. When I told her I wasn't okay with it, she got all emotional and started crying about how I was being selfish and ruining her relationship. She said Tyler was practically living here anyway, so what was the difference? The difference was that when Tyler stayed over 3 nights a week, I could deal with it. But him actually living here permanently was a whole different thing. I knew he'd take over the common areas, eat my food, and bring his loud friends over all the time. I'd seen how he acted when he thought he was welcome somewhere. Jess kept pushing and pushing. She'd bring Tyler over, and they'd both try to convince me how great it would be. Tyler would be all fake nice and promise he'd respect my space and help clean. But I could tell he was already measuring the living room for his giant gaming setup and planning where to put his weights. After 2 weeks of this, Jess started getting nasty. She told me I was being unreasonable and that most people would be happy to split rent 3 ways. She said if I really cared about her happiness, I'd compromise. When I still said no, she started making my life difficult on purpose. She'd blast music when I was trying to study. She'd use up all the hot water before I got home from work. She'd invite Tyler over every single night and they'd be loud until like 2 a.m., laughing and watching movies in the living room right next to my bedroom wall. Then she tried a different approach. She sat me down and said Tyler was having money problems and really needed somewhere to stay. She made it sound like I was basically making him homeless by saying no. When I didn't budge, she said maybe I should be the one to move out since I was being so difficult about everything. That's when I realized what was really happening. Jess thought she could pressure me into leaving so Tyler could just take over my spot on the lease. She figured if she made living there miserable enough, I'd give up and move out, but I wasn't about to get screwed over and have to find a new place just because she wanted to play house with her boyfriend. I told her straight up that I wasn't moving anywhere and Tyler wasn't moving in. If she had a problem with that, she could break her lease and find somewhere else to live with him. She started crying again and said I was being cruel and that she'd already promised Tyler they could live together. The deadline for Tyler's old lease came and went. He ended up having to find some random roommate situation he found on Craigslist because Jess finally accepted that I wasn't changing my mind. She was furious with me for weeks afterward and would barely speak to me. Tyler started coming over even more after that, like he was trying to prove a point. He'd leave his stuff everywhere and act like he lived there anyway. I started putting his things in a box by the door every time he left them out. After the 3rd time I did this, he finally got the message and stopped leaving his crap around. Jess and Tyler broke up 2 months later. Apparently the stress of the whole housing situation caused a bunch of fights between them, and Tyler ended up cheating on her with his new female roommate.